fixed just yet.
Okay, still in the middle.
Ruin surrounds you.
Still in the middle. Gonna have to pick up that.
Steel and pain.
Okay, let's go.
Night's madness drains away all hope. Can you feel death coiling around your heart?
Okay, need to go a bit up.
Ruin hides in every corner.
Okay, go down.
Shrapnel and shards abound.
Uh-oh.
Perhaps these trials are too difficult.
God damn it.
for you.
I walked outside again. Ha! Hey guys, and welcome to the most stressful and the most perky build that I have ever did. So this is a relic of the Pact, pure physical crit slayer. As you can see, my life pool jumps up and down all the time, but you're gonna be surprised to hear that I was able to farm rare maps, including Ultimatum, Blindfolded, and even managed to do Awakening 6 Sirius. However, this isn't a build that I would normally recommend. It just is more tanky than it seems, but only if you don't get hit at the wrong time. If you get hit at the wrong time when you are reserving 80% of your life, you're most likely gonna be dead. But if you don't get hit during that time and that window is very short, then you're basically gonna be able to survive almost anything. Well, not really anything, but you're gonna be able to survive a lot of things, including just ultimatum. Basically doing, just make sure you don't run out of ultimatum, and you're gonna be able to do ultimatum. Unless, like I said, you're gonna get hit at the wrong time. That's the biggest issue of this build. If you get hit at the wrong time, you die. If not, then you'll survive. So with that in mind, I've basically taught myself to just not care about my HP. You just don't look at it and not gonna be stressed. If you haven't seen my previous video, I already did this build with the Chieftain Live ES version, and it had more AoE. And compared to this, this has less conditions, so you don't have like exposure, you don't need to worry about EE, don't need to worry about elemental overload. You just go in, do damage, and don't need to worry about pretty much anything. And this one has a bit less AoE. Visually it's not as cool because you don't have Herald of Ash explosions happening. But overall I think this is a better build, and it is a more expensive build of course. And I think the budget was around 5 exalts, and this is also level 90. So you could improve this build quite a bit more by getting more expensive items and by leveling it up. But also leveling up could be a bit sketchy and difficult. I died 74 times. And this is level 90, like I said, Slayer. So I'm gonna explain what items I used, but I'm not gonna go into very details, especially about the Wand. I already did 2 videos. One was dedicated for the Wand itself and how everything works, so I'm gonna link that in video description as well, and path of building import code in video description. Okay, so the core items for this build are 2 Essence Worm Rings, then you get Supreme Ego, and then in the Wand you get Arrogance, Life Tap, and Brutality for this. The other items, very important, is Rathpith, which people don't normally use because it sacrifices 4% of your life, but it does give a lot of spell crit, spell damage, and in general just life and spell block. So by the way, I'm also getting glancing blows with attack block and spell block using Rumis to almost cap my, well, I do cap attack block, but my spell block is not that great. This shield sacrifice 4% of your life, does not count as damage, so it doesn't trigger cast when damage taken, but you also cannot die from this, so it's pretty safe to use it because with the Slayer's Leech you get massive leech. By the way, there are multiple ways you can build this. This is just one of the ways. You can do like a sign. You can even go with a Raider, which would not have as much damage, but maybe it would survive more because of dodge. I chose to be pure Slayer because as a pure Slayer you get double the leech duration basically, and you do get some cool things from Slayer like 20% Culling Strike, which is very nice, up to 50% increased AoE, actually up to 60% increased AoE from a impact node and the node before that. And you do get some mitigation while leeching, which is always. Petrified Blood also helps a lot by, well, helping you to survive. And you are on low life, so you take Pain Attunement with this, and basically just survive because of Slayer's Leech. This is with the Pact. The very bad part is that if there are no enemies to leech and you're running from Degen ground, you're probably gonna die if you don't get to other enemies fast enough, because I'm using life tap on the steel skin, so I am draining my life when I just am running. Flame Dash is also linked with life tap to trigger the life tap buff more frequently. And remember, the shield also sacrifices 4% of your life when you trigger any spell. You're gonna be running sacrificing your life, not regenerating, and especially if you run on Degen ground and you don't have leech, and because of Pact you have no regen, you just drop dead. Now, in terms of damage, for single target, if you disable a couple conditional things that you normally wouldn't get, like I can generate frenzy charges, but only on kills, or like 5% on hit, but don't count on that. So against Cirrus, this has around 2.7 million DPS against Cirrus, and I did defeat Awakening 6 Cirrus. But like I said, it's not really a build that I would recommend you to go farm Cirrus, but the map clear is pretty fun, and for map clear you actually have more DPS, because you can enable more conditions, so you get enable frenzy charges, you can also enable a nerve which you get from the blast blade blast, whatever it's called, also killed recently, you get extra targets killed, you have killed some rare recently, so you can enable quite a lot more modifiers. So then your damage becomes around 4 million, maybe a bit less than 4 million DPS for clear speed. And for clear speed, that's plenty. You basically one tap pretty much anything, except for bosses. Some bosses, I'm gonna be honest, some bosses just one shot you, and unless you absolutely play like a god and just don't get hit and kite them properly, you're gonna get one shotted. So keep that in mind if you want to copy this build. I do have Watcher's Eye for double damage for Pride, which is not expensive. Corrupted Kaom's Heart with the increased maximum life, which was like 80 here or something like that, not too expensive. Rathpith, by the way, in PUB does not properly import it, so maximum player's life, but in PUB you have to delete the maximum player's life so that it works properly. So gloves, there are all sorts of different versions you can get. You can get synthesized with maximum life and then crafted more life. You basically want big life. Helmet, you may want to go with bigger life instead of the flat physical damage, because the spell has 3% damage effectiveness, so you don't get that much damage out of the helmet, but you do get some. Actually, if I were to disable the flat damage, you can see how much damage would I lose. It goes from 1,024,000, it goes to 976,000. On the build, I'm actually getting increased life recovery rate, because okay, the leech, I'm not gonna go into leech because the leech is just super complicated to explain and wrap my head around. But there are two things. There is a leech cap, and there's also how much leech in theory you could leech from a leech. My leech cap is 3.2 thousand life per second. I cannot leech more than that, even if it says 6.4 thousand leech per hit. This still has to obey the leech cap. However, you can kind of increase this leech cap, not really leech cap, but you can get more regen out of this by getting life recovery rate. So you can get this on a belt, you can also get on gloves and on amulet, but I chose like a cheaper versions. Just get crit multi life, also more AoE. By the way, area of effect is 50 units when clearing, so it's pretty massive and it feels pretty good to clear with this. You can be very fast, dash, clear. Also, the expensive part was Tailwind, and I think you kind of need Tailwind unless you can figure out how to get more cast speed. Without the cast speed, it just does not feel good. Also, while leveling, until you get most of the items, it did not feel great. Although leveling with Slayer's Leech was pretty satisfying and I would say even felt better than Regen. However, when doing Labyrinth, you're gonna want to turn off Petrified Blood and have full HP. You don't want to run around with like 50% of your HP only. For the flask, I got Silver for the Onslaught to increase my cast speed basically. Rumi's Concoction. Now, I was trying to use Enduring Hybrid Flask, but I don't think that you need the Hybrid Flask. You can just use normal Life Flask. I do have Cast on Death Portal, by the way. I added it near the end of the build because I just kept dying randomly to nothing. You can get actually more life, you can get more damage if you choose to level this up for some reason. Especially if you invest into this build more. You do want Unwavering Stance very much, unless you are going for this node, Endless Hunger, but our event cannot be stunned. You don't get anything. Well, Unaffected by Bleed is nice, but you do want that area of effect. And I think you do also want the Killing Strike, so it's like you have no choice. And by the way, my skill is reserving 39% of my life. By the way, from the passive skill tree, you're gonna notice that I'm taking these notes. This is just to reduce the reservation because I don't want to reserve 99% of my life. I am reserving 79% of my life. So I still got around 21% of my life, which is around 1.4 thousand life. I'm essentially playing with 1.4 thousand life. So if you get hit at the wrong time, you die. That's why Petrified Blood works so well, because it mitigates, well, completely mitigates 40% of the damage. Also, you may want to experiment with the Anomalous Petrified Blood. I did try it a bit, but I felt like I did not have enough leash rate. It just did not feel good enough. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.